I'm Liz Loxley, and this is a quick intro. So this panel was done at Anime Fest in Dallas on August 15th, 2014, and the panel's title was Confidence in Cosplay. Now the panel in question was myself, Liz Loxley, Mia, otherwise known as the co-founder of Superheroesque and also seen at exomia.com, Starman, who is at mygeekygeekyways.com, and Camille, also known as Samurai Pizza Kitten Cosplay. All the links to their websites will be down below in the description, as well as in the blog post for this video. Now the panel was just a general on how to be confident in cosplay, as simple as that is. It was really hard to come up with a description because the title says it all. Now, the main reason this intro is here is because I need to heed a warning or some sort of thing of that nature. We forgot our camcorder when going to A-Fest, and I wanted a new point-and-shoot camera, so I bought a new point-and-shoot camera so that I could take vlogs. And this was the first video shot on this new camera. As it turned out, the new camera had the absolute worst image quality. It was grainy and gross, but you can still see what's going on and you can still hear what we're saying. So we were going ahead and putting in the video because we're both very proud of our first panel. For Mia and I, this is the first time we've ever done a panel at a convention. It was my first time moderating, so it was a whole bunch of new things for us, and we think we did pretty well. We'd love to hear feedback or what you think we should go over at future conventions. And one last thing is that all of the Q&A has been cut off simply because the camera cut off at 30 minutes, and that was right when the Q&A started, so it just seemed logical to cut off all the Q&A. There were only 2 questions we got to anyways, and I hope you enjoy this video, and please tell me what you think. Thanks! Hey guys! Hi! We are here from the blog Superheroesque, where we talk about geeky self-love and how to learn to love yourself through the weird like superheroes. So anyways, I'm Liz Loxley. I am one of the co-founders. I am here to introduce our guests, so everyone introduce yourselves.
You didn't introduce us at all.
Yeah, that's your job.
Okay, my name is Mia Moore. I'm one half of Superheroesque. I also blog at my own website called exomia, and I have a ton of Superheroesque buttons, so if you want one after, come up and I'll give you like 2 or 5 or 10.
Okay, I'm Camille Dwally. I go by a lot of different things on the internet, but my Facebook page is Samurai Pizza Kitten Cosplay. I just joined Superheroesque today, kind of ish or whatever. I'm friends with these 2 lovely ladies, and yeah, I'm here.
I'm John Constantine, and I have no idea why I'm up here. No, actually, my name is Matt Morrison. I write for a few different websites under the nom de plume Starman, including my own personal website, mygeekygeekyways.com, but I also write comic book reviews for kaboom.com and noflyingnotights.com. And also occasionally write stuff for Superheroesque when I have time, when I'm not doing everything else.
And then my actual introduction is that I do all the vlogs, and I do my own personal vlogs. You can check me out at
all the vlogs.
All the vlogs. I have a stronghold.
And that's why we're recording this panel right now.
Yeah, so if you have a question later, you are being recorded, just a pre-warning.
And also, if you have a question or if you want to live tweet this panel, that would just mean the world to me. But our Twitter account is @Superheroesque, and you know, do that. It'd be great.
All right. So our first question is, how long have you been cosplaying, and what is your signature or favorite cosplay?
I've been cosplaying for really real for like a year and a half, and my signature is probably Ramona Flowers because I have 4 Ramona Flowers costumes. Because can't stop, won't stop. I'm embarrassed of myself, it's okay.
Okay, technically, I've been cosplaying for about like 6 years, but we're not gonna call anything past, before 2012 actual cosplay. Cat ears, things like that. But my signature costume, it's kind of hard for me, but I really love my Sailor Mars costume that I've done pretty recently, so I'm just gonna go with that's my favorite costume at the moment.
I've been doing it somewhere between 10 and 15 years, which is really depressing to think about. But I guess I can count the Halloween costume I did where I dressed as the Sandman for all day in class and confused the hell out of my classmates. That'll count. But probably my signature has got to be Green Arrow. just because it's the one I've done the most and the one I've modified the most and redone the most. Up to and including Homeless Green Arrow, which was just me wearing my glued-on goatee with a green hoodie. I was in a hurry, I had to change at work, and I was only at the con for 2 hours.
And it was amazing.
But Felicia Day loved it, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, wow. That's more than I can say for any of mine.
And I've been cosplaying for like 2 months. My signature cosplay is Lumpy Space Princess, where I put on purple clothes and pretend I look like a character. So our first question dealing with confidence is, have you ever dealt with negative comments or reactions to your costumes?
Okay, so most recently me and Liz were at San Diego Comic-Con, and we dressed up as Daenerys and Jorah from Game of Thrones. And we were lucky enough to get tweeted by the Game of Thrones official Twitter, and like all the comments were super negative because we're both like kind of chubby, and so they were all like, "Oh wow, you're the fat versions," or like one of them called her a bear, which she wasn't even offended by, but yeah, I love bears. But it was just weird because a couple of years ago that might have really hurt me, but now I've gotten to the point where I'm like, yeah, that's what I look like, it's whatever. Like, I'm never gonna be as thin as the actress that plays Daenerys, because I've seen her costumes in person. She must have like a million corsets on, they're very little. But it was just weird that we got such a negative reaction for doing something that we like to do, because that's not how I would react if I saw people cosplaying, whether I thought it was good or bad or whatever. So
There was one person who created a Twitter account just to call us fat, and I take that as a compliment.
I had no tweets previously. It was weird. And then I did another costume where I wore short shorts, but the rest of me was totally covered. And somebody was like, "Sluts ruin everything." I was like, okay. Like, I didn't have much to say about it because it's like, you know, I don't believe that calling somebody a slut for wearing short shorts is really like necessary or that it really means anything. But also it was just weird because I was cross-playing a character from a video game. So I think what they really took offense to was the fact that in an all-male video game, there was a girl that decided to dress up as one of the characters. So I've received a couple negative comments, but they haven't really affected me much.
Okay, well, I kind of have a long internet history, internet bullying history with cosplay and things like that. So I'm gonna kind of try and keep it short, but yes, people have reacted negatively towards the things that I've chosen to wear for whatever reason. Because, I mean, we're all dressing up and we're all nerds, and none of us are actually cartoon or comic book or whatever kind of characters, so I don't know why they took issue in the first place. But we all know My Little Pony, the My Little Pony fandom. They're very excited about their characters, their
To
ponies.
put it mildly.
I'm being nice, okay? The bronies, I could say. I cosplayed Twilight Sparkle maybe 2.5 years ago, and my picture got on the internet, and some people were like, "Oh, this is awesome, brown Twilight Sparkle, blah, 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 she's a pony, she's purple. Me being brown, how does that affect anything?" But those were the nice comments. Other comments were like, why is low-class brown person cosplaying pony that's purple? I'm so upset, blah, 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 whatever. So, I mean, at first I was really upset about it, but then I got, I guess, a lot of attention for it, so I was like, yes, more attention on me. I mean, I dress up in cosplay, not for the attention, but the attention doesn't hurt. So I was just like, it bothered me. I have a blog, I have a Tumblr, and people would, you know, message me being like, "Oh, you shouldn't do this," or "I support you," or "What do you think about this?" or "What do you think about that?" And so, I mean, I would say that I got a lot of the followers that I do have on various social media sites because they saw my costumes, I mean my Twilight Sparkle costume, and liked it or didn't like it and decided to share it with other people. So there's that. I wore a Poison Ivy Halloween costume to an MC Chris concert because he was having a costume contest, which he loved, but I posted it on the internet, and I didn't wear red hair. I just put twigs in my hair and leaves and things like that, and I was just like, this looks cool, you know, people get the idea. I had on a bodice with leaves all over it that I like hand sewed and glued onto that. I thought people would pay attention to that, but they were like, they decided to pay attention to my body type, my skin color, the fact that I didn't have red hair, and those comments were upsetting at first, but like I said, I just got over it because, you know, I am not the character. I like to represent the character in my own way, and I really don't give a crap about what anybody else.
I'll keep this somewhat clean.
Yes, Yeah, I said crap, okay.
You said crap, it's fine.
It's fine, it's fine. So yeah, I've had a few instances. I could continue on because, I mean, there's literal blogs where people have said very hurtful things about some of my costumes. But then I actually Googled myself not too long ago in my Twilight Sparkle costume, and I found a whole little forum where they're like, this Twilight Sparkle, and they sourced all of my pictures and all that kind of stuff. And they're like, she's so awesome and cool and things like that. I'm like, this was 2 years ago, but it's really awesome that they still like that costume of mine, which was a closet cosplay.
I haven't gotten as much on the cyber end of things, mostly because every time I try and Google my name, I get pictures of that guy from Glee.
Oh.
Took a moment to get that done. But I have gotten, heard people talking in the hallway about, oh, he's too fat to be the Doctor, he's too fat to be Green Arrow, or, this, that, and the other. And I let it slide off my back. Doesn't bother me, really. But, thankfully, most of the characters I play, if I hear it or they get in my face about it, which most of them don't because bullies are cowards at heart and they'll mutter things that they walk past. But I can get up in their face about it. And, well, John has been great fun. I actually played John for the first time last weekend and today. And I did have somebody get in my face earlier who was, you are the worst Castiel cosplayer I've ever seen.
Jesus.
And I just looked and said, well, that would bloody matter if I were playing bloody Castiel now, wouldn't it? I am John bloody Constantine. And if you don't get out of my face right now, I am going to curse you within an inch of your pathetic, sad little life.
They literally look exactly the same. They do. You just have to
I thought you were
smoking.
Well, I've cursed out people as Green Arrow for cursing in front of children. Not literally cursing out, though, they were cursing. I just, guy, don't be a jerk. There are kids here. So, I have a very direct approach to handling that sort of thing when I'm confronted with it. And I get a little bit more criticism about my costume in general. Not, you can't be doing this, you can't be doing this, but, oh, well, your costume isn't as good, or, yours could be better made, and that sort of thing. But, I'm happy with it the way it is. If people know who I am, I think that I'm accomplishing what I'm trying to do.
So I have a very similar approach as Starman because since I've only been doing it for a few months, the Game of Thrones Twitter was the main thing that happened, and I was the one dressed up as Jorah, so I had a beard, I kind of binded a little bit, I looked like a convincing dude. That is one positive thing. If you're a bigger girl, it's easier to hide your curves, so you can cosplay dudes way easier. So anyways, the person who's he looks like a bear, I just was asterisk she, and he was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize there was a human behind this picture.
They were making a joke because Jorah Mormont's house is a bear sigil, right?
Yeah.
So it was a Jorah joke, but then they were like, oh, I didn't realize that the actual Jorah would see it, and you were like, it's cool, I love bears.
I'm so So, next we're going to talk about, do you have any tips for being confident in general or in cosplay?
Okay, that's a big question. So, I did? Oh my god. Okay, so in general, I think the selfie movement is a beautiful thing. Because before selfies, I wasn't confident in how I looked because every time a camera came near me, I didn't know what to do with my face. That's helped a lot. Oh my god.
Sorry, she asked for a selfie. I wasn't flipping you off.
But I think if you're not confident in how you look, then taking more pictures of yourself can help a lot, especially if you're already feeling like you're really hot on a certain day, then indulge that a little bit. It's not a bad thing. In cosplay, I think the biggest thing is to pick characters that you want to emulate in one way or another. When I cosplay certain characters, I kind of get that vibe. If I cosplay Ramona, I feel like, oh, I'm this edgy alt-white chick. If I cosplay Daenerys, I feel like, yeah, fire, blood, whatever. So try to cosplay characters that you want to emulate in one way or another, and also try to cosplay to your comfort level, to your body type, and just in a way that makes you happy, and try to forget about what anyone else might say, because it's really just at the end of the day about what makes you happy, and that'll make you more confident too.
Right, well, going off the selfie movement, I say fake it till you make it. So I will take a picture of myself, and if I'm not happy with it, I'll shutter click the camera until I find a picture that I do like of myself. But some days I'm really not feeling myself, whether I'm in cosplay or out, and I will literally look at myself in the camera, and I don't know if that has to do with vanity or I'm trying to boost my confidence, but I'm just like, okay, well, until I get a picture that I do like, I'm gonna sit here for 2 minutes in my car until I have to go into work and take pictures of myself and then post it on the internet, and maybe somebody will like it. But as far as faking it until you make it, if you don't feel like, hey, this character suits me, you don't have to, I mean, I would, instead of focusing on what suits you, think about what you like about the character and what types of, I guess, things that that character would do or whatever, and try and like put that into your own life and feel like maybe I can emulate the character in however way they would or how they would portray themselves, and maybe that will make you feel a little bit better than how you would feel about yourself wearing a costume. So that's, I guess those are my tips. I mean, I have issues with, I guess, self-confidence, this, that, or the other, but I still, at the end of the day, put on a costume and go out in the con and have fun, because it's not really about, to me, just how I feel about myself. Yes, I do need to feel good about myself, but I also want to have a good time with my friends. I also want to meet other people. There's a lot of different aspects of the whole convention life and cosplaying that I look at, other than just about how I feel in that costume right at the moment. Maybe maybe when I'm walking out the door, I'm like, I feel a little incompetent, but somebody might compliment me, or I might strike up a conversation that I would have with somebody that I might not have another time because I wasn't wearing the costume. So.
I'd come at it from a very weird perspective, because I actually am an actor by trade, got my degree in theater arts. So I know quite a little bit about the whole method acting and trying to get into a character. And I never really thought much about that when I first started cosplaying. It was just, I like the look of this character, I like to dress up as them, and it was not, I wound up realizing fairly recently that most of the characters who I cosplay as are anti-heroes who are trying to make up for being a worse person than they were. And without going into massive detail about my past, that kind of fit my mindset for a while. So I'm not sure if that was just subconsciously me trying to work through my own issues or what, or if I just like playing sarcastic, mouthy jerks because, well, I'm good at it.
They're fun. That's who you are.
They're fun to play. You are an awesome.
But like, not the jerk part.
Yeah, well, not anymore. I've gotten better, I think. But yeah, John Constantine, Green Arrow, Harry Dresden, if anybody knows him. Jack Knight, Starman, who's the character who I got my nickname from. And even to a degree, Dream from Sandman, which is the first costume I ever did, and tell a story about that really quick. I'm not sure if I can really count it as a cosplay, technically, because I did do it for Halloween. But I did dress, I'm a big fan of Neil Gaiman, love the Sandman series, and I just decided one year I was going to dress as Dream for Halloween and wear the costume the whole day. And I was just walking around all day, and people loved the costume, but they kept saying, dude, that is the best Crow outfit ever. And I kept trying to say, well, I'm not actually the Crow, I'm the Sandman, he's this character. They just kind of glazed over, because this was before Neil Gaiman became really big, mainstream, you know, geek god writer, everything. I mean, at that point he was still mostly known for Sandman. It was before the Doctor Who episodes and everything else that they based on his work. And so then eventually I got tired of correcting everybody, and about 2 in the afternoon I eventually stopped saying, yes, fine, I'm a Crow, thank you. So then I go to this Halloween party and think nothing of it, until I wound up running into this actor I knew who, he was a bit full of himself, a bit of a prima donna, and he was dressed as the Crow. And he immediately just made a scene, it was probably like, what do you think you're doing, telling people that you're the Crow when you are clearly not dressed as the Crow? You don't have the eye makeup right and everything else, and it's like, I'm supposed to be Sandman. Well, why are you telling people you're the Crow? I'm not telling them that, they just think I am, and I just felt really bad about it. After that, I just wound up, it did wind up helping me in a way, because this kind of helps my attitude, because honestly, the best way to deal with people like that, you don't know me, you don't know what I'm doing, you have no right to talk to me like this, I don't give a damn. Your opinion is completely meaningless to me, so best way to not care is not to care. Very zen, I know, but a bunch of people on the internet are saying bad things about you. Big deal. They don't know who you are. They don't know what good person you are on the inside. They're not likely to ever know. Forget them.
All right.
I said the polite F word that time.
Thank you.
So mine comes with a story. Now I'm going to tell like a very short, altered version of the story because it's not my story to tell. It's actually a story of a friend, and I don't want to co-opt her life for myself. But basically, one of my best friends growing up, when she was 17, she contracted a disease and she got gangrene and lost her leg. Now beforehand, she had super bad issues with her looks. She was super self-conscious. She was thin, blonde hair, blue eyes. She was so beautiful, so traditionally beautiful. She's still beautiful, obviously. That doesn't ever leave. You're beautiful no matter what. If you're beautiful on the inside and the outside, you'll be that way until you die. But I was 17 and I've always been fat. It's a lifestyle for me. And whenever that happened, I was like, she has all these issues. She had all these issues before, and I can't imagine having to deal with something so big, like just the amount of trauma that was, that immediately I was so grateful for everything my body could do. Like I was so grateful that I would always take the stairs. I would always walk wherever I could. I was so thankful that my body could function, digest the food, that I was born with a fully functioning heart, that my body was able to do all these things, and that no matter what anyone thinks it looks bad, as long, like if your car looks bad, okay, whatever. As long as the engine is running, that's all that matters. So from that, over years and years, I was able to be like, oh, well, I'm just really hot and everyone else who doesn't like it can deal with it. Because you're not always going to be everyone's type, and that's just the truth in life. Not everyone thinks Megan Fox is hot, as hard as that is to believe to certain people who write Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies. Not everyone wants her everywhere, because people have different tastes. So that's kind of my thing with confidence. And now we're going to do 2 more questions that we have planned, and then we're going to try and go through them really fast so that we can make sure anyone who has questions can ask them. So the next one is dressing to your body type. Now I'm going to do this one first because I'm a fat girl, and the fat girls tend to get told to dress to your body type the most. So in regards to that, what I have in transitioning dressing to your body type to cosplay. So first off, I don't believe in dressing to your body type. Dress however makes you comfortable. I always am wearing short shorts and a racerback tank. That's what makes me comfortable. So what I would do with that is find a character that has something very similar to short shorts and a racerback tank. So think like the trainer from Pokemon, the newest one, the girl with the red hair, or not the red hair, the red hat, black shirt, red skirt. That's sort of close in how I would traditionally or regularly display my body. So it's a lot easier to transition into that. There's another way that you can do it where if you take a really iconic hero like Green Lantern or Wonder Woman, or someone who's very recognizable by a simple symbol, it's a lot easier that you can take like your short shorts and racerback and add all of that to it and do it your own way and your own style. Luckily, doing crossover cosplays is really popular right now, so that's an easy way to be able to kind of go with how you're already comfortable dressing your body, and then going further, and then you can use the attention that you get from the cosplay, because generally you'll always get positive comments from other cosplayers, who are the real people you should be listening to, is the other people who spend the time, effort, and money in getting into costumes, are the only people whose opinions should even slightly matter. Most of them will always love your costume. They will always appreciate the work and the creativity you put into it. Mia?
Okay. What was the question?
Dressing to your body type.
Okay. So going off that, I think that's a really good way to transition, especially if you're newer to cosplay. My first few costumes were all A-line dresses because that's what I'm mostly comfortable in. And then I wanted to do a version of Ramona Flowers that had like booty shorts. They're like the spandex that you can buy at Academy that like volleyball players wear. I'm not a volleyball player. I'd never worn those kind of shorts in my life. So I was really terrified about it, but I knew I wanted to put it together. And what helped me with that was like figuring out ways that I can kind of manipulate my body shape to be more confident with it. And by that I mean like Spanx and dancer's tights. So if you're not familiar with like shapewear for cosplay, it's not something that everybody has to do, but it's something that has made me more comfortable in the kinds of costumes that I wouldn't normally wear on a day-to-day basis, especially stuff that shows leg or is like slightly revealing for me. So I think the biggest thing is like start with what you're comfortable with. You can always modify a costume to make it more modest or make it more within what you're comfortable wearing, and then try to find resources so that you can figure out what makes you most confident in the costume. Is it adding sleeves to a costume that normally doesn't have sleeves? Like whatever it is, just like modify it so that you're comfortable with it, because I agree with Liz, like there's no real reason why you should have to dress for your body type. I'm sick of getting told that I should have to wear, you know, XYZ because that looks best on me when that's not really what I want to wear, and that's also not what characters are usually going to wear. So I think just like making sure that it's adjusted to your comfort level is the biggest thing.
Okay, I guess we're just going to keep building off of what
You should answer
going to
every
call you
question
Pam. Liz, but she's dressed as Pam. Anyway, I kind of go with the philosophy of my underwear is like the first layer, and building off of that, I can build layers on top of that as far as confidence is concerned. So if I have on nice underwear, if I have on shapewear, if I have on Spanx, if I have on whatever, it makes me feel good. And I think that's kind of like, what was the question?
Dressing to your body type.
Dressing to your body type.
I'm so sorry, me too. I was like, I just started talking.
So like, as far as dressing to your body type, I mean, there are, wow, okay, I lost what I was trying to say. But basically, I have a very athletic body type, but there are layers of squish on top of that. So I put on Spanx to make myself feel good, and those are underneath my clothes. And they help make the costume, I guess, more costume-like, whereas it could be just me putting clothes on my body trying to represent the character. So I guess, like, I cosplay Cora. Well, you would think, I don't know that Cora would wear Spanx underneath her costume, but she has on, what, a kind of like a muscle shirt that's really tight and things like that. And so I put on one of those like little body shapers that kind of just smooth everything out and make me feel good and make me look good. But I'm kind of like going off of what was said, so I'm just going.
Don't look at me, I'm not about to talk about wearing Spanx.
It'll make your butt so springy. Yeah. Okay.
Well, obviously, I'd have a whole other set of issues to deal with, but it is something that comes to mind with my costuming. I tend to worry more about fabric type and does it breathe well, because a lot of my costumes I have multiple layers. Like, for instance, my Green Arrow costume, I have an under tunic, over tunic, a hooded tunic, so I'm wearing about 3 or 4 layers to get this green, you know, archer, yeoman, you know, Robin Hood look going. And it looks fine once it's all together, attenuates the muscles need to be attenuated, but I am wearing 3 to 4 layers in Texas in the summer.
Yeah. Always in the summer. Thanks, con season.
Love you.
Yeah, but I try not to brag about it. Sorry for everybody who said, aren't you hot now? And I said, yeah, but I try not to brag. Actually, well, that's the thing about the trench coat is this actually is a London fog jacket, but it's cotton. So as long as I'm moving, I've got a good breeze, it actually is not that bad. I'm just wearing, you know, one shirt underneath. Cotton pants. So, you know, I'm not going to wear spandex or anything because, you know, that traps the heat, and anybody who's actually tried wearing spandex extensively will tell you, yeah, it traps the sweat, you start boiling, and you can't walk around all day in one of those things.
All right, so we have one last question that we have planned. If you can answer it in 2 sentences or less, that'd be great, because we have 10 minutes left and we want to make sure anyone who has a question has the opportunity to ask. So the last question I have is, does cosplay as a hobby make you more confident?
I wrote this question, so I'm biased because I wrote it because it has made me more confident outside of cosplay. I have a theory that cosplay can make you more confident because not only are you looking like all these characters that you want to emulate in some way, but you're learning all these new skills along the way. So even if you're like a closet cosplayer, you're learning how to buy the things that you need to make this costume look right. You're learning how to modify things. Maybe you're learning how to sew or style wigs. So I definitely think it's made an impact because I have a hobby now that makes me feel more confident in who I am and what I'm doing with my life. So yeah, I'd say yes, but I also wrote the question, so I'm curious to see the other answers.
Yes. Okay, well.
We can keep it short then.
We've only got 2 minutes, but yes, I co-sign her statement. I'm gonna move on.
Oh, I thought there was going to be a little more than that. I was just going to say yes too.
That works.
And I didn't even realize I slipped back into my accent.
I would also say yes. On top of that reasoning, people stop you for pictures and they're like, oh my god, you're so-and-so character. So you can feel like a celebrity for a day, and that's great because I have an ego that needs to be fed at all times.
Breakfast, second breakfast, lunch.